Walk the Plank. This is going to be our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game, where we're going to be sailing the seas and getting up to a whole bunch of stuff. So welcome to Encounter Roleplay. For those that are live watching on Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to join us live every Sunday, starting at 8 Eastern Standard Time, for the live show. Today we're playing episode 1 of Walk the Plank. First, we'll go around the cast and the crew and figure out who we are and a little bit about who we're playing. Feel free to conserve any details you want, and we can get to those in game. I guess I'll start. So I'll be the dungeon master. My name is Daniel, and you can find me on Twitter, Collins_Dan1, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I've been DMing for a while, playing for the same amount of time I've been DMing the whole time, but that's okay. So if we'll start with Tim, tell us a little bit about yourself and your character.
All right, hey, Tim. Tim on Twitter, or Skella_Tim. I'll be playing Dirk Daggerford V, a barbarian, muscular merman who's ready to fight anyone who hurts his crew. So I'm looking to dive into his family backstory a bit throughout the campaign. It's a little complicated, so.
All right. So next, let's go to Drew. Go down the bottom.
What's going on, everybody? I am Denver Drew. You can catch me on Twitter at Denver Drew. That's basically the only place I'm at. And I will be playing Winston Keeve, Bounty Hunter. And he's got a lot of fun tricks to sleeve. I've been looking forward to this one. So, thanks.
Awesome. Next, we'll go to Austin.
How's it going, guys? I'm Austin. You can find me on Twitter at OS_Lake or SoundCloud OS Lake. I'll be playing a tiefling warlock named Scurvy with a little bit of a rocky past, but tries to be a good guy, and he's meeting up with his new crew, so we'll see how it goes.
Heck yeah. All right, so we can go to Vanny.
Cool.
We'll go next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vanny, or Vanny Stitches. You guys can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Vanny_Stitches. That's VANI_Stitches. And I will be playing a Water Genasi monk, and her name is Delta Tidesong. She's lovely, she's endearing, she's warm, and just wants everyone to make sure they have a good time. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how that goes. All right, last but not least, Pepper.
Hi there, my name's Pepper. You can catch me on Twitter at Mibishi4815. I am playing Vasily Ravenwood. He is our furball rogue. He's a little on the lonely side, a little distant, a little rakish. He's got a bit of a shady past that probably, hopefully, will catch up to him. And despite my Twitter handle, I actually use they, them pronouns.
Cool. So continuing on this, our little intro here. So before we begin, I want to remind everybody that we're sponsored by a few people. We'll start with Fantasy Grounds, which is our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you'll see tonight and across kind of roleplay in general are using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all your miniatures from Wayland Games. So if you go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer, and 40K minis for 20% off, which is a pretty good deal. Finally, we have Tabletop Loot, provide fantastic dice, which we give away when we hit stream goals, which, as noted earlier, are like the retweets. So go to tabletoploot.com to see the kinds of sets you could win each session. Now, finally, I want to remind you guys how you can interact with today's game. So when we hit 20 retweets, we'll give away a set of dice. The rules will be in chat for that. And of course, you can donate to affect the game by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and this month's special, a pet for the vote, which would be pretty cool. And so without any further ado, I am going to start here with our intro. We'll get the game underway. So, here we go. Welcome to the Splintered Reaches, a large archipelago in the furthest southeastern region of the known world. The people who inhabit these islands would be considered exotic on the mainland, but have lived here since its inception. This place is full of piracy, both semi-legal and totally illegal. There's no shortage of lost treasures scattered about the charted and uncharted lands here, and there's plenty of gold to be made. You are all currently in Port Sandspear, a port controlled by the fragile government that unites the islands, the Royal Island Front, or the RIF for short. However, your ship flies a different flag. You all, after being hired on to the Tide's Blade, are now in the ranks of the Pertiza, a loose band of pirates who come together with a single common interest. Well, a few common interests. Riches, most importantly, and equally as important, ale. After a night of mischief and getting introduced to each other for the first time, most of you are meeting at the place previously agreed upon. Note, I said most of you. It's early in the morning, and the docks are already filled with the hustle of everyday life. However, your party members who were already members of the crew take you right where they parked the ship a few days ago. So getting there was no trouble. And you notice, you see your friend who is the ship's quartermaster on the dock next to the ship. He seems to be interacting with the dockmaster, getting the final supplies squared away. And he, this character, Brom Stryker, who you know, is a middle-aged dwarf with a bushy black beard that is braided into one single braid and a large, poorly made knot at the end. And he has a mustache so burly that it covers his lips. He has a bandana, a raggedy bandana covering his balding head, and he wears very simple clothing. So knowing that is your location and knowing that all your supplies will be on the ship, you head over to him, and as you head that way, he finishes his conversation. He turns to you and says, right, well, go ahead, load your stuff onto the ship, grab a bunk, and meet me on the deck in a few. If you have positions, head to them. Captain he'll be here soon. And he winks at you, the two that were already crew members of the ship. And then he takes his leave and heads off into the docks further to finish up some last-minute business. What would you guys like to do?
I will take my belongings and I will step onto the ship. I would like to go find the bunk.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get all my stuff ready to go.
Yeah,
all right.
Austin will drop his stuff off and start heading up to the crow's nest.
Cool.
Dirk's got a little cleaning to do on the ship. He'll get back up there to his usual spot and make sure poop deck's looking nice and shiny.
All right. So the four people who are currently here make their way to their positions. Whoever went down to the bunk room, so you have Scurvy and Delta are brand new to the ship. Seeing that the few people you met the previous night, the crew that you met the previous night, are kind of standing around. They're getting their things in order and getting the ship ready to go. They nod at you. but you quite easily head down the stairs and find your way to the bunk room, where there are multiple rows of bunks. It's very basic, very tight quarters. It's not a very large ship. If anything, it's just like a medium sailing ship. And there are a couple free bunks. It's pretty obvious which have been claimed and which haven't. You can see, or what you assume is the one claimed by Winston, is very neatly kept, but there is a little bird's nest next to it, where his familiar likes to sleep. So you kind of note that that's not the one that you should be taking, but you find a couple top bunks and a couple bottom bunks. Take your pick. And Winston, you head up to the crow's nest after you follow them down, drop your stuff off. And as you get up there, everything seems to be in order. No one messed with your seating and with your workstation, I guess. And Dirk, I'll say that you have as you are drop your stuff off and then head back up, scrub the poop deck, hang out for a little bit, get the last little things in order. A Dragonborn woman walks up to you. Sorry, let me get to real quick. Cool. So your friend Jata walks up to you, who is an older female trollkin. My apologies. She has a long braided red hair. She has light blue skin that is clearly weather worn. She has piercing yellow eyes that have a ton of laughter lines around them. She stands about 6 feet tall and walks rather slowly. As she approaches you, she says, "You think the new recruits, they'll do well?"
I was more than impressed by the new recruits.
She laughs along with you, remembering the previous night's antics, and says, "Well, I sure hope so," and heads down to her station. She is the ship's cook. She's the ship's surgeon, the carpenter, kind of does a little bit of everything with her hands. After about a few minutes of getting your stuff ready to go, you notice that everybody, at least people who are in your bunks, notice that everybody begins to head to the top deck, and you kind of hear some commotion up there, so you also follow suit. And as you pull up, as you all get to the top deck, you see Brahm is getting the finished getting the ship straightened away. He pulls the plank up from the dock and he calls to untie the ship. But Winston and Dirk, you notice that your captain isn't anywhere to be seen. Normally he would be. As the ropes finish being untied, you notice there is a large explosion down the main street leading into the center of town. One of the sides of the buildings gets blown off. So you hear distant screams as the crowd scatters. Almost immediately, you see two figures, clearly still handcuffed, making their way through the crowd as quickly as they possibly can. One is wearing a long-sleeved, tattered fine clothing, and he looks to be Choltian, so he has dark skin and he's clearly human. He has medium-long dreadlocks pulled up into a ponytail, and handcuffs are still around his hands and ankles. So he is trying to run as fast as he can, clearly still cuffed and still a prisoner. And you two immediately recognize who this is, as you've been crewing the ship for some time already. The other person in handcuffs is...
He's a male furbolg, around, as far as you can tell from the distance that you are. He's about 7.5 feet tall. He's got, from this distance it's kind of hard to see, but he's got long black hair. You can see glints of what looks like metal and bits of bone dangling from his hair. You can see by the texture that he spent a lot of time at sea. His skin's covered in like a soft, baby fine caramel colored fur that lets you see the tattoos underneath his skin. You can't make them out at this distance, but you can tell that he's got some serious ink going on. His clothes are done in shades of black that have faded to gray over the years, as he's been, again, obviously on the sea for a while. And he is doing his damnedest to mimic the captain.
All right. So, and as these two characters are making their way through the crowd as fast as they possibly can, you hear off in the distance, "Hey, stop them!" Clearly, as guards are yelling at the two people in a mad dash for the docks. They're able to shove their way through the crowded street as you see Brom, who's actually standing ready at the back of the boat, toss a long rope on that lands right on the docks. And all of you and the rest of the crew head over to the back and kind of like stand against the railing, kind of like looking in anticipation. You watch, let's see, as you do that, you see above you the sails unfurl and a gust of wind kicks. And as that happens, the two characters make their way to the dock, or make their way to the rope, grab on. You see the captain, you see him look at the furbolg and say, "Hold on tight," as the ship begins to leave dock and actually catch wind and make your way. You take a few seconds to climb up the rope, and you see the guards that were chasing you halt at the edge of the docks and wave a not so nice hand gesture and yell something totally inaudible in your direction.
Vaz, it just takes a moment.
Right. And as these characters climb on board the ship, you see the Choltian standing there, kind of hold out his handcuffs, and you see Brom walk over with a set of thieves' tools, begins to pick them off, and he says, "Ah, Brom, my friend, whatever would I do without you?" And the dwarf rebuttals, "You'd be dead." Dead indeed. I would be very dead. Now, who do we have here? He says, as he's looking at the new recruits. And so he'll point at the water genasi monk and first ask, "So, who are you?"
So, to paint a picture for everyone, Delta's features are very rounded. Her eyes are very large. She looks very young. She's often smiling. She has pale teal skin with darker teal freckles that dot along her cheeks here and there. Her skin kind of always glistens a little bit because she's a water genasi. Her eyes are a stormy gray color, and her hair is a dark blue-black at the roots and then fades to a brighter blue-green color towards the ends. She wears it in a braided bun, but it's very long, and you can tell that by how many times the bun is wrapped around. Her clothes are mostly brown in color, typical kind of a monk's garb. She does wear a stone bracelet on one wrist and carries a quarterstaff with her, along with her pack that she didn't set down because it's not much. It's all she has. She pulls forth a writ from the monastery and passes it to the captain. "I see y'all like to make an entrance. My name is Delta Tadsong, and I've been assigned to your ship from the Order of Antiquity. It's a pleasure to meet you."
Yeah, pleasure to meet you too. Interesting. Never had a fancy type on the ship before, but...
Oh, honey, no, I'm not fancy. Don't get all thoughts in your head.
Okay, well...
Very simple. Don't need much.
I don't know that we have much tea here, but, you know, it'll be... fair. And he kind of just winks at you and says, just kidding. I'm just kidding. As his handcuffs get undone, he kind of loosens, twists his hands around. Says, "Well, It is very nice to meet you, Delta, and I am very happy to have you. As long as you're happy to go, dungeon delving and potentially put your life in danger, for the sake of riches and antiquities, of course.
Oh, darling, that's what I do.
Well, that is why I hired you. I'm glad we're on the same page there. So
exactly. And of course, any powerful relics
Interesting.
that we found, the monastery will be more than happy to pay for, so that you don't end up losing out on that. But
Cool.
if it needs to be sent away, we'll have to arrange that.
Well, cool. A buyer on the ship. That's handy to have.
Well, a contact.
Fair enough. What's up with the? Well, anyways, Dirk, Winston, good to see you. The tiefling, interesting.
So I guess I'll give a quick description. Very average build for a human, I'd say. He's got light purple skin, dark blue hair, black horns. Your typical tiefling look. He goes, nice to meet you, Brom. I'm happy to work on the ship. I love being at sea, and I think my work will speak for itself.
Well, we will let it then. This is so sorry. I didn't mean to not introduce you. This is Vasily, my friend. We met only a few days ago. I'm very happy to.
About a few days ago.
Yeah, I'm happy to have met you. Kind of helped me get out of there. Probably wouldn't be here without him. So thank you for that. First off, apparently he's good at picking locks, better than this guy right here, who is picking and struggling to pick his ankle cuffs. And he just says, "Well, I'm tired. I am really tired. As soon as this is done, and I haven't slept in a number of days, I would just love some sleep if I could, not on concrete. So I'm gonna head to bed, but you guys can do whatever you want. I know it's bright and early, but I'll take the first night's watch. Not a big deal."
So I think Winston probably still would have been up in the crow's nest and making his way down, and about this time he would have sort of hit the deck, and you see an older gentleman, probably like late 40s, early 50s, black hair, little salt and pepper at the temples, and dressed very plainly, simple, dark clothing, all like very breathable, has spent a lot of time out here on the water already, but has 2 pistols holstered on each side, and has a big, long blunderbuss on the back that looks banged up and unusable. It has color all over the side of it. It looks filthy. It's been carved on. And as he comes down and sees Vass, he pulls both pistols immediately and holds them towards Vass.
Really?
This one,
what am I going to do to you?
Listen,
the captain is gonna.
He just aggressively rattles his handcuffs at Winston.
The captain's gonna step in front of Vasily and say, "Whoa, what? How about you put those things away? No one's gonna die." Tell me,
I just caught you.
Yeah,
What are you doing on this ship?
Your captain brought me on board.
Looks at the captain. You approve of this?
yes.
This is
Holsters
when
both pistols.
Dirk will step up and try to reassure Winston, and now you get a good look at Dirk. Dirk Daggerford V is a very muscular Triton man. He is just rippling muscle, this sapphire dark blue skin with rugged merman features, but he's shirtless with like a strap for his great axe on his back, and some it looks like his green hairs around it goes to maybe like shoulder length, but he has this big bushy green mustache, like just not what you'd expect from the Triton folk, but and he also has like green chest hair, and he steps in all of this and looks at Winston and goes, "You know, the captain makes all kinds of friends. Can't help it."
And he just looks at Vass with a grin and goes, "It's all right, I already got paid."
There you go.
Vasily just doesn't say anything. He just looks down at the handcuffs and aggressively rattles them some more, trying to break them with his strength.
At that point, the dwarf will have finished. Brom will have finished the captain's ankles, and now starts to work on yours and say, calm down now, calm down.
Vasily has to bend like nearly in half for his wrists to be able to be unlocked.
The dwarf's like, reaching up like almost as high as he can for you, and you're just kind of meeting him halfway in the middle. Doing your best. And the captain steps in and says, "You caught him?"
Yeah. Very easily, actually.
Interesting.
It had been
It's not
rough
hard. It's not hard to find someone that's that size.
Like I said, it had been a rough few weeks.
Now, I will say, with your history, Winston, I don't know that you're one to judge on levels of danger and what you bring aboard this ship. So, careful now.
That's fair. That's totally fair. And about that time, the raven lands on my shoulder, and I will look through the raven's eyes and just kind of blank out a little bit.
Vasily just rolls his eyes, completely unimpressed.
At this point, the captain is kind of just like takes a deep sigh, kicks the shackles off of his ankles, says, "Well, on that note, I will let you continue to get acquainted. I'm going to catch some Z's." And then he heads down the stairs onto the main deck, and then turns around and heads into the captain's quarters, which are on the main deck, underneath this little rise that you guys were on. So for a quick description of the ship, it's a pretty small sailing ship. There's 2.5 stories, I guess, or 2.5 like levels. There's the main deck, which has 2 half rises, so like there's not a full story. It has 2 main masts, one much larger one small. It's a medium-sized sailing ship. It has on the main underdeck, it has where the cannons are, and then it has the bunk, and then it also has Jata's area, which has what you can call like a clinic, if you could call it. There's like a bed, a wooden table that she operates on people if need be. Right next to that is the pot she uses to cook in, so like it's all kind of crammed in the same little area. And then there's some eating quarters right next to that. And then underneath, on the very sub-level, there are, which is very small, it's just all storage. It's where all the cargo goes. So you guys are currently either on like the upper raised part or in the main deck, just kind of all hanging out there, and the captain goes down into his quarters. Not too long after that, the dwarf stands up. Vasily noticed that your shackles are loose.
He shrugs them off.
Right. And the dwarf looked up at you as well. We have about a day's travel until our next stop, so make yourselves at home. And he storms off to go back. He goes into the captain's quarters as well to deal with everything that just went down at the docks.
Vasily just looks up at Winston. Hey, just for the record, I don't blame you. People gotta eat. How about we could just put that aside and we can work at the past. We can leave that in the past, okay?
Winston reaches into his pocket and pulls out a hip flask and just passes it over. You've been in the clink. You might be interested in that.
Thanks. Vasily cautiously takes it, unscrews it, and sniffs it before downing a bit.
Just keep it.
All right.
Thanks.
So as you guys have this little interaction, there will be, as you said, a day's travel. There will be, things to do across the ship, people you can talk to. I will go ahead and introduce another member of the crew. I assume, so you guys are actually kind of near a member of the crew who has made this his little nest. He is a younger Aarakocra. He's a toucan. So he has a large tropical beak, or a large beak and tropical feathers. He wears extremely exquisite clothes and is rather tall for an Aarakocra. He is, and he has a large sun hat on at all times. And on his belt, you can see he has an obnoxiously large spyglass. And as he is kind of like looking out on the horizon, he is muttering to himself in the language of his people, and kind of just like talking under his breath.
You seen anything out there, big guy?
He pulls it down, looks over. Not that would concern you, thank you. And he goes back to his job and then goes and does this. You kind of, as you two would know, Dirk and Winston, this character named Zeed is rather pompous, kind of pretentious, pretty uppity. He thinks, he will iterate this and preach on it for as long as he can, that his people are the greatest and there are no comparisons, that the bird people, the Aarakocra, should rule the world. And that's just that. And he is on a journey for riches so he can become king of the world. He's extremely young, by the way. You can tell that he is very naive and very young, but happy nonetheless to be on the ship. With that little short interaction, you see Jata from earlier kind of walk up, and she looks around. Hola. Good to see you all. Made it on the ship. If you need me, my quarters are down the stairs. I'll be cooking a meal pretty soon, so please come and join.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you needed help cooking, I could help. If you need it, there's a lot of people to feed, lots of mouths. Some of them, and I look over at Winston, probably need to eat a little more than others.
Yeah, Winston is very thin. He's clearly missed a lot of meals, and bounty hunting has not always been kind to his wallet. So you can hear his stomach rumble from a block away as food is discussed.
Yeah, and Vasily being fresh out of prison, his stomach gives a very audible rumble as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Let's take care of that real quick.
And she kind of she laughs and waves you on as she turns around and heads down into the lower deck.
I will follow.
And as you head down, you see a character that you have not seen yet. Another dwarf, rather old looking. He wears a tight red bandana around his head and only has one eye. However, he wears no eye patch. He wants you to know that he earned that scar. And it's massive as it goes down the side of his left face. He has an absolutely wild hair, totally unkempt, and the same for his beard. It's just as bushy as it gets, as out here as it gets. You can see him kind of tending to the cannons underneath, which you guys have 4 of. And he walks the limp due to his peg leg. And you can see on the cannon that he is currently working on there, from the mouth of the cannon comes a little monkey and hops up, and it looks to be also polishing and kind of helping him out. Jata looks, motions at him. You haven't met. Introduce yourself. And he looks at you, turns around, like one eye just wide as can be. There's a deep guttural grunt, and Jata says, "That's Grunt." Name speaks for himself. And then he grunts again as he turns around and continues to work on the cannon. And so you take some time to work with her and begin on preparing the day's lunch. What does everybody else want to do? We have a little bit of downtime.
Scurvy wants to look for a drink, so he's probably going to hang out with the crew members and chit-chat.
Cool.
Vasily is going to try to find a bunk that his feet won't dangle too badly off of.
All right. I assume Winston's going to... Yeah, that's what I thought. And Dirk going to continue scrubbing?
Yeah, I'll get back to work cleaning up, make sure the captain's quarters are good to go. I know he likes his setup pretty pristine, so I'll go check up on the captain.
Cool. I guess we'll start with that. As you head down the stairs, small little stairs, into the captain's quarters, you hear the loudest snore that rivals grunts. And it's just obnoxious as you open the door and you see the captain is just passed out on his bed, like arm, leg hanging over. All of his clothes are still the way they were. And he is just absolutely passed out. It's pretty kept, though, pretty decently well kept. Besides that, you see Brahm in there dealing with some papers. He has like a cloth, like a shirt almost like wrapped around his head a few times, almost act as like earmuffs from the loud snoring as he's working with some papers and kind of he has a map out, and he looks to be like charting a course. And he, as he sees you enter, he takes the rag off. Says, "Sorry, just it gets to you rather quickly."
Yeah, that his snore is a little too powerful.
Yeah.
So, Brahm, where are we headed next?
Well, I'm sure you remember we've been up the coast, the Valiant coast, for a while, but Captain's got bigger plans. We're gonna first head to a little alcove that he stored a lot of his goods in, and hopefully they're still there. When he left this place a long time ago, he stored them there, and we're going to go pick him back up, see where that takes us. Probably going to head over to Cutlass Bay meet up with some contacts, get some more contracts, and figure out how we can make a buck, because we're looking pretty broke. The coast was not kind to us. We did a lot of things we probably shouldn't have, but didn't make much gold at the end of the day.
Yeah, I understand the need for gold to keep us afloat is top priority, but I'm still wondering if we'll get a chance to take a look at the map I brought, if we can go there sometime.
Kind of leans back in his chair. You're jogging his memory a little bit. He's been kind of swamped with a lot of getting everything off the ground and out of the port. And he says, "I don't see why not. Definitely gonna need to pit stop on the come at the bay, but I don't see why we couldn't see where X mark the spot that X marks, as the saying goes.
It's it would be amazing if we could do that. It's been in my family for generations. This map, I just if we make time for it finally, I'd be over the moon.
He nods and says, "You know, you've been a good crew member. You haven't let me down. I don't see why we couldn't do that for you."
Great. I can't wait. Just tell me what you need me to do. I just came here to check and see if the captain's quarters were okay, but looks like things are he's taken care of. So let me just point me in a direction. I'm on it.
First, before I forget, when we get to Cutlass Bay eventually, I do need you to check up on the map. I'm going to be dealing with some stuff, getting our name cleared on a few things. That,
yeah.
Because I'm doing all that.
Yeah.
If you could, look into that map. See if you know or can find anybody who can point us in the direction where it would begin. It's a clear path, but the start is kind of ambiguous, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that was a pretty big obstacle to going after my map. So, yeah, maybe Cutlass Bay will have some leads this time.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
After a while, you know, that Delta girl from the Antiquity, she might know or have another piece of this thing.
That's a fair point. I hadn't considered that. I was too busy initiating her to ask her anything about it.
And I assume you took care of that. She's still here, so.
Yeah, there was if she'd missed, she may not have been. But, yeah, it's... People usually try to reach for the axe I throw at them.
Normally, I wouldn't throw an axe at the friend I'm trying to make anyways, but, you know, it is what it is.
You got to give them a taste of how dangerous it is out here. I like to, just shake it up a little bit just to make sure they're aware of what they're signing up for.
I do not. You know what? I'll give you that one. That's fair. I don't know if I did that for you, but I hope you looked like you turned out all right. So, yeah, just figure out that, and for the time being, get them acclimated, get them figured out, and just do what you can around the place. Not much to do right now, though.
All right, I'll help out the new recruits. Without axes this time. No axes involved.
And he laughs as he kind of just nods and continues on with what he was doing. It looked to be just scattered notes all across the table. One main map that's kind of like plotting a general course. But it doesn't seem like there's anything big in mind at the moment. We'll say, let's see. Scurvy went and grabbed an ale. What did Vasily do again?
Trying to find a bunk that fits him a little bit.
That's right. So as you enter the quarters, the monkey follows behind you, kind of like running around at your ankles.
Can I actually use speech of beast and plant? Speech of beast and leaf to talk to the little monkey?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's just gonna lock eyes with him and hold out his hand. Hey, little guy, wanna hop on?
His eyes grow wide as you're the only person on the ship that can talk back or talk to him, or has at least taken the time to. And he jumps up and says, "Whoa, you can talk!"
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's a Furbolg thing.
Huh. I like you. Huh.
Thanks.
I hope you
What's
don't
your
go
name?
down like the last one. Oh, my name's Rabbit. As he kind of takes his little cap that he had on, his little bandana that was tied around his head, pulls it off, and kind of like bows a little bit and puts it back on.
Vasily bows his head. Good to meet you, Rabbit. Name's Vasily. He puts him right up here on his shoulder.
As he does so, you just hear the monkey cackle and laugh pretty hard as he says in your ear, "Good luck finding the bunk. You're a little big."
Yeah, I'm aware. It's not the first time, and I doubt it'll be the last.
Fair enough. I don't have any problem with that. I have all the room in the world.
See, I'm kind of jealous of that. I've always been on the bigger side no matter what. This entire time, Vasily is looking for a bunk that's preferably on the bottom, that's at least a little bit longer than the others, if possible.
So I'll say they're the same dimension, but you notice the very last bunk in the row, it doesn't come up to the edge of like the wall of the ship. There's like a little storage compartment at the very end, like almost two closets at the end of the bunks. I'll say you lay down at the very last bottom of the bunk and your knees are kind of tucked up a little bit, and with a quick kick, you just kind of boom, bust two holes in the wall of the closet area. And you just kind of roll your ankles and stretch a little bit. You make it work.
Perfect.
And as you do that, the monkey just kind of like flops down on your chest and kind of like spreads out as well and stretches with you. And as you take a moment to savor the fact that you're not in a jail cell anymore, Scrubby, we'll say you walk down and you notice this wild-haired, bushy dwarven who, as he just looks up at you, grunts, turns around, keeps doing what he's doing, and you see Delta and Jata over there looking to be fixing the meal or starting to prepare to do so. And then you notice there's like an area where there's always ale on tap and there's water on tap if need. There's both of those kind of consistently there. And there are some snacks out there in jars that Jata keeps on hand for the crew. So you walk over, you grab one, you grab a mug, kind of pour one, and then what do you want to do?
I'm gonna walk over to Jata and be friendly. I'm gonna say, how long have you been a part of the Tides Blade?
Oh, that's a good question. Takes a second. You see her just kind of looking off in the distance, stroking her chin. She takes almost too long. Looks like she just totally lost her train of thought. Looks at you. What were we talking about? Sorry.
I just want to know a little history of you and the ship,
That's right. Well, you see, the captain, he's a good man, but I've known him for a little too long, if that makes any sense. He came about the same time I was looking to leave Jolt. And we just so happened to be in the right place or wrong place at the right time. Hopped on the ship, and here we are. So we've been sailing for 10 years together.
So it seems like you guys go a little way back.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of history.
She laughs a little bit.
Well, I'm glad to be aboard.
She nods. I'm glad to have you. Just be careful, though. He can be rather ambitious. So I know you signed up to be his treasure hunter, but be wary going into your contracts. That's all I'll say.
Okay, Scurvy's going to nod and let her know that he's acknowledged her.
Cool. So now we'll pan up to Winston in the crow's nest. Give me a perception check first.
Yeah, it'll be 14.
Cool. So what were you going to say first before I do what I was going to do?
No, I'm sending Inkblot out to actually be scanning, and I'll just send him out to kind of circle the ship, look and make sure we don't have anything coming up on us that I can't see with my old eyes.
Cool. So as Inkblot is kind of scanning the ship and soaring about and looking around, you notice in the direction you're headed, there seems to be a dark cloud forming over the seas. It looks to be a decent ways off. It's on the horizon at the moment, but you know that is the area in which you're going. And as you're kind of looking, it isn't going all the way across the horizon, but it is forming right on course.
So yeah, I will whistle down and say, got a storm coming.
You notice that the Zed was distracted. He was taking some notes down. He wasn't looking up. He's actually sitting down, legs propped up in his chair, and kind of like looks up and says, and looks in a spyglass, puts it down. Yeah, you're right this time. Now,
Winston will climb down and kind of pat him on the back and go, "It's all right, buddy. Well, one of these days you'll get it."
and he just like looks at you sternly and says, "Well, what do we do?"
Well, that's a great question. Probably a good question for the captain, don't you think?
Yeah. He's asleep. Can't wake him. Can't wake him. He's asleep. He'll ruin my contract. Oh.
Just pats him on the back and goes, "Listen, why don't I go down? He likes me, and then he won't yell at you, and you can save a little face. It'll be fine."
How about it? Not me getting yelled at. And he goes back to his podcast, kind of studying the horizon.
Yeah, you keep an eye on that. You got this. And just sort of heads off down, shaking his head like, "Oh, kids."
And as you head down, and as you approach the door, you also hear just this thundering of snoring coming from within the captain's quarters.
Doesn't care. Bangs on the door, full force. "Cap!"
Yeah. Almost a moment or two later, you kind of hear like a loud snort. It's almost if you maybe woke him up, and then you hear footsteps hastily coming to the door, and it swings open. And as you see that, you see in the back corner where the captain is asleep, he kind of lowers his head back down and lets out a big loud snore again. And Brahm has met you at the door, and he closes it behind him and says, "What's up? I'll be dealing with things for now. Don't worry about it."
All right, sounds good. We got a storm on the horizon. I don't know what you want to do. If you want to hunker down, or should we just ride it out?
Think we can
Looks
take
pretty
it?
nasty.
Contemplates it for a second. I don't really want to add a couple days to our journey. We gotta get to the bay as soon as we can, and we need these things in there. Apparently, that's going to help us clear our name.
I'd say we can press through. I don't see any reason why not. We've dealt with worse, but just wanted to make sure you knew.
All right. Well, prepare yourself and tell the rest.
And he'll head off down the hall and start warning the crew. He'll get to Dirk first.
Yeah,
Dirk.
imagine yeah.
Storm.
All right, I'll start buckling down everything. I'll start warding as well.
Yeah, grab the newbie. Let's see if we can put him to use.
All three of them?
Might as well. A lot of work to get done.
Sure, I'll head to the bunks. And Dirk will race down there.
Cool.
It's gonna head back
as
up
you
and help navigate.
Sweet. As you head to the bunks, you notice Vasily is in there, comfortable as can be, hands behind head, feet through the wall, just kind of hanging out.
Just talking, casually talking.
Yeah,
On my chest.
yeah, just like speaking and having a conversation, visually speak, like noticeably having a conversation with a monkey on her chest.
You and the monkey, we're gonna need your help. We got a storm coming.
All right, I'll get up there. I don't think Rabbit will be good for anything, but I'll get up in the sails, no problem. And I just gently pick the monkey up and put him on another bunk, and then get up, like you would a sleeping cat.
Right. The monkey then just imitates your position and just takes a nap.
And now that Dirk is close enough, he can actually get a closer look at Vasily's hands. He can see that not only do they have the words "hold fast" tattooed across his knuckles, but the ring finger on each hand has 2 extra joints and ends in a wickedly sharp, like a talon.
Man, you're tall. You're probably one of the tallest ones here.
Yeah, I get that quite often.
For comparison's sake, Dirk's around 5'5". So he's been looking up, like, once you actually come down from the bunk, when you land, he just looks up at you like, wow. Yeah, I'll get you to work on the sails. Let's go grab the others.
Sounds like a plan. And Vasily heads over, he follows Dirk as they head to the galley.
Cool.
So we make it over to the galley, and do I see Scurvy and Delta hang out there?
They're still downstairs. You would have noticed them as you head to the bunks. You would have noticed that they're kind of sharing a drink, having a talk, motioning them over, as they notice also you, gathering Vasily and heading upstairs pretty hastily. Would also probably, I assume, done it in suit.
Okay, yeah. When I notice them, I go, finish your drink. We got a storm coming. Get up deck.
All right.
Scurvy says, "Man, I hate storms." And finishes his drink.
Delta will look at Giada. Is that her name?
Jada. Jata.
Giada. I'm sorry. Giada.
You're good.
Are you okay finishing the food? Or do you want me to stay?
She motions you. And I can handle it.
Wonderful. Well, call me if you need me. And then she will pop up as well.
Okay. As you head up, you obviously notice the storm approaching. It looks to be headed your direction, or probably stagnant, with the wind carrying you that way. It looks to be, or at least the wind's carrying you that way. It doesn't seem that the captain or the quartermaster, or whoever's in charge here, makes any plans to chart around it. Potentially would add too much time onto the travel. So you see the quartermaster out there. He's pretty short, so he's standing on like the higher rise as you guys are all in the lower section, like in the middle. And he says, "Well, recruits, this is your first storm, I assume, at least on this ship. Just man your positions, I guess. This is not my job. Oh God." Oh.
Take a deep breath. Everything's fine. Where do you need people? The first step is finding out the problem.
You're right. So, Vasily, if you could man the rigging, at least be one of the people manning the rigging. You look capable, making sure nothing is going to go wild in the wind, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir. And Vasily automatically just scampers right up.
Cool. As many of you can, be tying down things, manning to ropes, doing things to keep everything that you see, keep it in its place as long as you can. As he's going to be steering us through this thing. And so we're going to need as much help as we can on deck, just kind of doing what we can. So I would say, piece of advice: work as the storm takes. Yeah, so do whatever the storm needs to be doing at that moment. Kind of read the situation. I know it's very vague, but each storm's different. These waters don't look like they're too testy. It looks like most of our trouble is going to be from above, but you know, once we're in the middle of that thing, there's no way we can know. Takes a deep breath. He looks at Delta and says, "Thanks for that word. Does that help? Does it be any direction at all?"
Sure. Whatever helps you feel better, dear.
Well, I
You're
don't really
doing
have
great.
any... Thanks.
So, like, pat him on the back, too. You're doing just great.
Well, yeah, just feel it out. You know, the best way to learn is just to do it, I assume. So, not much coaching can help.
Mom always says, best way to learn to swim is to jump in the deep end.
And that's a pretty deep end. Let's not jump, though. If we can help it. And so, as he turns and he talks to Zeed for a second, you guys kind of look around, and Dirk and Winston, you're able to more accurately point your friends in the right direction. A place to man, a good position to be at normally, because you know the kinks of the ship, and you know if it's going to go wrong, where it's going to go wrong. And so, as we approach the storm, does anybody want to do anything as we approach the storm and before we get into the storm?
Delta will move all the way to the front of the ship, kind of lean over it, and like look into the storm. She's never seen this before.
All right.
Not like far enough to where she'll fall. Like, you know, Titanic, I'm flying. You know.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Vasily, he takes the opportunity to attach a lifeline.
Delta
All right.
does not do that.
Not knowing too, yeah.
She doesn't know.
All right. Right.
Vasily, he looks down at Delta. Hey, tie a rope around your waist. Don't fall overboard. Then he keeps climbing up.
What if I can swim?
Still
Fast.
doesn't matter. You can't swim in a storm.
Well, I ain't gonna drown.
You don't know that.
No, I do. I can breathe in the water. That's a thing.
He just takes a moment, like his claws are like hooked into the rope, and he looks down at her. Seriously? You could do that?
It's quite nice, actually. You just sit down in the bottom of the ocean or the bottom of a lake or a river, and you just kind of like wait there, and you're weightless. It's wonderful.
That's not fair at all.
It's lovely.
When Dirk hears this, he's like, another one that can breathe underwater, huh?
You see? You understand. At least you know what I'm talking about. That weightless feeling that you'll get. You just sit underneath the water and you just kind of float there. It's wonderful. Nothing quite like it.
Winston leans in, has all this, and goes, "Yeah, it's not the breathing that's the problem. It turns out it's the animals that live in there." And looks around and goes, "You see any land? That is an issue."
Now that is a fair point. And she will get a piece of rope and tie it around her waist.
Hey, newbie, since you don't mind getting wet, I'm going to need you up on deck. Help me with this stuff.
Sure.
So Dirk will put
Tell
it to
me
work.
what to do. I'm ready.
Cool. All right.
We start nailing down stuff and help with the sails as well. Vasily, oh, you already got there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, just finish up with the sails. You seem like a furry type. I don't think you'd want to get too wet.
I've grown up on the ocean. I'm used to it.
Alrighty. And yeah, Dirk will get to work with that.
Awesome. What about Scurvy? Does he fall in line?
Yeah,
Tying the rope around the waist?
Yeah, Scurvy's been in a storm or two, so he's gonna immediately tie a rope around his waist and look for any crew member that might be struggling with some ropes or something, and head over to help out where he can.
Cool. You actually see looks that Grunt is on deck now, fastening down some things, tying some stuff down, and looks to be struggling. So you can head that way and kind of go over there, so and help him with that. As we enter the storm, I need everybody to give me so we're going to be doing it's going to be another try at these skill challenges. So I'm going to go ahead and announce the main skills are athletics and survival for this thing. So survival being knowing what to do and where to do it, and athletics just having the brute brawn to be able to do so. The way skill challenges work, if you don't know, you can also do another skill if you want to use a different skill, but the DC is just going to be a little higher to get it done. So you can get creative and do what you want to do, but that's just going to be a little bit more difficult to do so outside of the two main. So I want everybody to give me an initial survival check to see how much they were able to prepare on the front side.
I rolled a 19.
Okay.
18.
That's a 4.
All right.
Delta, honey.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey.
All right, and Dirk and Winston?
That's an 8 for me.
Okay.
I have an 11. I got distracted helping the new recruits.
That you did. Okay.
I got distracted being helped.
So, I think I am going to use my first luck of the day.
Oh.
Luck point? Okay.
Yep. That'll be 14.
Cool. Noted.
Slightly better.
Slightly. So you guys are able to somewhat fasten everything down. It looks to be you're prepared to head into this storm. You were able to get that done just barely. Imagine that. So now, as we enter the storm, you feel, you hear the loud thunder above, and you see the crack of lightning. The waves are beginning to pick up. It looked like it was mostly overhead. It didn't look like there was a lot of turmoil underneath. But now you notice, and you're going to be heading into some rough waters as well. So as about a minute or so passes as you're passing into this storm, let's see how these knots are kept up and tied up. Let me roll some dice. Okay. Well, we had the stuff that Dirk and Delta were doing. You were kind of tying some stuff down, nailing some stuff down, keeping things down. As a whip of wind and a splash of wave caught you off guard, one of the planks you had nailed down ripped off, broken in half, ripped off, and the ropes that were tied to it begin to unfurl and whip into the wind. So both of you guys give me either check athletics. Give me an athletics check to see your ability to kind of hold on to it as it's coming through your hands as you're trying to grip it tight.
Oof.
8.
13.
8, 13. Okay. Noted. So now we'll have Scurvy and Grunt will assist you. Similarly, on the other side of the ship, the same kind of thing happens. Like on adjacent sides of the mast, what was tied down begins to unfurl, and you both try to grab the rope as it whips upward. So give me an athletics check.
I got a 21.
21. Nice.
Yeah.
So your grip is actually getting lower than Grunt's, and so you just hold it tight. And he's holding it tight as well, but he doesn't need to even be holding the rope as you're holding this side down. Now if we could have Vasily, as you are kind of whipping and jumping through the masts and keeping things down and holding everything still as much as you can, keeping things intact. Give me a survival check.
That's a 7.
A 7. One of the masts, a small portion of it, just you see it rip as a large gust of wind hits it, saying, "All right, well, give me another one." As you move down farther, this time the same splash of the same large wave that came crashing over the ship that initiated these other two ropes to begin unfurled splashes and now crashes at you. So give me an athletics check to hold on as you're kind of caught off guard.
16.
16, sweet. So you are able to hold still as the ripped mass is kind of smallly ripped mass is like whipping in the wind above you. Winston, where are you currently? Are you also just kind of like helping around?
Yes, I actually would be up high trying to hold down things and look out for any like rogue waves and stuff like that as we enter the storm.
Give me, so I'll add a perception just because, for you specific, I'll add a perception.
Okay. So that'll be 13.
13. You do notice directly ahead of you, there is a large wave that is beginning to amass and crest as you maybe 10 seconds out from it.
He whistles down and yells, "Brace!"
Everybody give me an athletics check.
10.
15.
11.
8.
12.
8, 10, 15, 11, 12. All right.
11.
So 8 and 10. Who is 8 and 10? Dirk and
10.
Vasily? So you actually, Vasily, you are higher up on the mast and lose your grip as this wave crashes over the ship. It crests over the ship and splashes on the main deck and causes Dirk, you to lose your footing as well. So you lose your footing, slam into the deck, crash back into the staircase, and take 3 points of bludgeoning damage. And Vasily, as you fall one mast down, kind of like land on your side on the lower one, you take 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
Ouch.
So now we'll do another round of this. So the ship is somewhat currently intact as the waves are crashing into it. It's rocking pretty greatly, and the storm is whipping ahead. But Winston, give me a perception check just to try to see, and Zeta's going to help you. Doesn't see anything. He's distracted.
Perception would be 15.
You see there's maybe about the same amount of storm left before you exit this rough storm. You can see the light of day on the other side.
I would relay that back down. Hang on, we're coming through it.
All right. So everybody give me one more round as a large lightning bolt, cracks and lands onto the ship, startling everybody on the ship, and the thunder that was simultaneous also catches everybody off guard. Even though you were, as much as you were trying to prep for it, as simultaneously all that happens, a large wave crashes on, similarly crests over the ship and splashes. Everybody on the deck, give me a athletics check for your footing.
That's going to be a 5 for Winston.
Sorry, that was my housemate. What am I rolling for again?
Athletics, as you're trying to keep your footing or hold on to this mast as tight as you can to not fall down.
19.
19, sweet. So yeah, you grip on, and I'll actually say you, as you embrace it, you use it as kind of momentum to jump up and grab onto the next higher one and begin to hold together and kind of like hold on to the part of the mast, or part of the sail to keep it from ripping and being further damaged. So what was the number before that, Sid? I'm sorry?
Winston has a 5.
On athletics? Okay.
Yeah.
So as you kind of are looking out and kind of focused on what's on the horizon and what's ahead, the wave crashes in from the starboard side, and you are. Give me another one, because we'll see what happens. Give me another athletics.
I used tied in, but that's not going to help very much here, I have a feeling.
Right.
That's a 10 on the die, which means that's a 9.
All right. So you are knocked out of the nest. You're tied in. How long was that rope that you tied down?
I tie it all the way up to the nest. So I've got it actually down so I could slide down it on the other side if I wanted to. But I've basically got, I don't know, 20 feet maybe of rope.
Okay, but you're not tied into the nest. You're tied just onto the mast.
Correct.
Okay, so you knock out of the nest and just miss your grip on the edge of it, trying to hold on to it, and you just fall and swing, just barely missing the deck, but you do slam into the mast itself, and so you're going to end up taking 3 points of bludgeoning damage.
Great, of
as you
course he does.
slam and then swing back into swinging across the mast. And we're missing 2 more people, right?
I rolled a 10.
I rolled a 20.
A 10, okay. A 20. So, Delta, as the wave crashes, it just kind of passes through you. You kind of embrace the water and embrace the wave, not even really holding on to much. The wave itself doesn't make you lose your footing because you're, well, basically made of water. Scurvy, as a strike of PTSD kind of hits you as this second large wave crashes over you. A vision and a flash of what scarred you in your past kind of distracts your mind. And you can kind of get a split second and see the same thing happening here. In fear for that, you try to grab on to what's closest, but you take 1 split second too long to do so. So you slip, you land face first onto the deck and slide. As you're sliding, give me one more athletics check to see how far you slide across the deck.
A 3.
A 3. Okay. All right. You're tied in, luckily. So as you begin to slide, he crosses your side of the ship. Dirk, give me an athletics check to try to grab on to try to like run up and hold him.
Catch me, buddy.
Oh, by the way,
Catch me.
My earlier athletics check was 18. I didn't get to say it yet, so 18.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely.
The other way, catch Scurvy.
Yeah, this is the one to catch Scurvy. As he's sliding, kind of like trying to grip the deck as he's going across it.
Okay. That is 10.
A 10. So just as he's beginning to kind of slip through your grip, you grab onto the rope and yank him back. He's able to catch his footing and stay there for a second before he gets up and able to like readjust himself. He didn't fall off the side of the ship, luckily, as you were able to grab his rope at the very last second. Overall, that was a success. So you...
Careful, newbie.
With that, in the last wave coming crashing over you, it's been about... all in all, between all of this happening, like 3 or 4 minutes or 5 minutes of hard storm. It's a rather quick storm. You just hit it as it was forming, luckily. You make it through on the other side. I'm looking around. Not too much damage has happened. Y'all did pretty well and keeping things down. You notice Brahm look up and say out loud in the most motivating tone he can, or most supportive tone he can begin to muster. Good job, all. That was good. I'm glad we hired you. Yeah.
Vasily just groans and shoots him a thumbs up from from up high.
I'll have to work on your pep talks, but you're doing great, guys.
I do what I can. And as that happens, the captain steps out of his quarters and just looks at everybody and says, I'm sleeping. Can you keep the commotion down, please? I'm trying to get some
Sorry,
rest.
Captain. Next time we'll try to tame the forces of nature.
Yeah, I know a guy. and do better. Gosh. And he rubs his eyes, closes his doors, and heads back to sleep.
Vasily takes the chance to climb down and help Winston to his feet.
All right, yeah. As Winston's kind of like swinging, like hanging, and you get adjusted and say, okay, well, it's all right. Whew, I'm good.
Dirk's gonna go help out Scurvy, and he's gonna help him to his feet, and he goes, "You don't seem to have your sea legs. How do you get a name like Scurvy without being really keen on a boat?"
Scurvy's gonna go ahead and dust himself off a little bit. He said, I've been thrown off a ship before, and these storms kind of get to me sometimes.
Keep that in mind.
Would I have been in earshot of that?
Probably, yeah.
Probably? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, darling, when that happens, you have to just bite the dog that bit you. You know?
Scurvy's gonna kind of grin a little bit and okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Good. Just gonna clap him on the back. Well done.
You should get some limes or something too. Like we have a bunch downstairs. You should get something,
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a drink with that lime. Scurvy's
We're
go off.
gonna make lunch. I will head back down and continue assisting Jada with lunch if you don't need me here anymore, sir.
Brahm looks around, says, "We got it. Just go on, do your thing."
Wonderful. Food will be up soon, and she will head back downstairs and continue assisting with lunch.
Cool. So we'll have Vasily, Winston, and Dirk kind of continue back up to where you were, readjusting yourself, kind of getting your positions again. Vasily probably Brahm will instruct you at least to take your time to attempt to mend the mast. He'll give you the supplies to do so. To sail, sorry, and give you the supplies to do so. The weather has moved into a very calm wind. It's keeping you moving along, but it's a beautiful day at this point, right after the storm. Dirk, you will also be in charge of tying down those ropes again that were loosened, and that were the things that were broken during the storm, kind of fixing those back up. Scurvy will actually employ your help in making lunch along with Delta. So you three will be able to make a lunch mighty fine for the crew who just survived a pretty nasty storm. Brahm will let you guys know before he goes off and does some stuff on his own that you should be getting to your destination in the morning. That's hopefully when we'll be there. Hopefully the storm didn't set us back too much, and that's where you'll be. And so for the remaining of the day, and I guess the night and moving into the night, is there anything you guys want to do?
Yes, I would like to make sure that everyone gets fed, and while I am serving everyone food on Winston's plate, I'm gonna put just a little more.
All right.
So you'll notice that Winston is almost always the first person down there, and it just so happens that you see a little perch in sort of the area where lunch and dinner and everything is served, and his raven sits there when it's about time, so he knows way ahead of everybody else that like it's ready, and he just kind of like gazes and comes back down, and he's like, oh, thank you very much, and plows it. I mean, he doesn't even taste it. He's just like sustenance. Oh, sweet sustenance.
Vasily, during dinner time, he sees the raven just sitting up at the rafters. Sorry, is it a crow or a raven?
It's a raven.
Yeah, he sees. Okay, cool. He sees the raven sitting up in the rafters, just kind of tosses the bird a little bit of the bread, and says,
"Oh, it catches
hey, hey."
Delta, in prepping all of the food, if that bird like really does just like hang out down there when it gets around that time, she totally sneaks some food all the time.
Yeah, you can hear the bird. You can hear the bird go, ink blot. Ink blot.
Okay, good to meet you, Inkblot.
It kind of like ruffles its feathers a little bit, and yeah.
Dirk, when he starts to eat, he eats the servings for at least 3 men to maintain his muscular physique. He actually has a very regimented eating schedule and will set alarms throughout the day. So he needs to, if he doesn't eat, he loses muscle mass. So it's kind of a sight to behold how much he scarfs down. Well, I didn't expect you to be cooking.
Well, you know, now you got to cook. I mean, you already had a cook. Now you got 2. So, you know, you just need anything, you let me know, and I will make sure that you get nice and fed and keep those muscles nice and strong.
All right.
Yeah, Vasily, he takes a slightly smaller portion than someone would be anticipating for a verbal of his size.
But Delta's gonna put an extra scoop. she's like your southern grandma, you know what I mean? Where she's like, no, that ain't enough. There's plenty of food.
I had one of those, so I know what's up.
Yeah.
Scurvy's going to be real quick to finish his meal.
Oh, all right.
Because he wants to catch a little star time before his bedtime.
Sweet. The meal progresses, and everybody's sharing stories and having a good time. Eventually, towards the middle of the meal, the captain stumbles down, and you see him kind of like rubbing the sleep out of his eyes. His hair's in a mess. He pulls it back up into the ponytail, and stretches, takes a seat. He gets a plate first and takes a seat. Takes a deep sigh. Says, "Wow, what did I miss?"
Went through a storm. Everything's fine.
Vasily just shovels some food into his mouth to keep from saying something stupid.
Everyone's eating.
Yeah, nothing we couldn't handle, Cap.
Good.
How was your sleep?
You know, a couple hours ago, it was rough. You know, I slept pretty hard for the most of it, but there's a little bit of time where I just couldn't seem to stay in the deep slumber that I was looking for. But I feel decent.
Probably. Good.
I'm glad that it wasn't my snoring that was waking me up, at least.
Are you a snorer?
Yeah, a little bit. So
Dirk laughs loudly at that. Little bit. Oh.
And he kind of strikes up a conversation. He strikes up a small conversation as he's eating his meal. Well, what brings you all here?
I just wanted to get out of jail, so it was a happy accident that I'm here.
I think that's a pretty reliable reason, personally.
He nods and's like, yeah, well, you help me, or I scratch your back after you scratch mine. So I'll take you where you need to go. If you want to stay, you're more than welcome.
Sounds like a plan. He toasts his cup.
He nods. Takes another big scoop. Says, Scurvy, what about you? Been on the seas much?
Yeah, I kind of grew up a little on the seas, but it's been a while since I've been out here, so I was just feeling a little fond.
Well, I won't dig too deep if you're not if you're clearly hiding some stuff back there. No worries. Delta, you're from the Order.
Yes.
What landed you on? I understand your contract, and clearly Brom got in contact with one of your people. But I'm just surprised, I guess, is all. It's a pleasant surprise. But
Why?
any goals? Well, we seem to be a little more rough around the edges than take no offense, but than you, and I'm glad you're here, I guess.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's lovely. But, you have to come out and work with people who are sometimes a little rough around the edges to get what you need to get. So part of being acquisitions is all about.
Yeah.
You got to go out and acquire things, and you can't do that if the people you're with aren't acquiring things.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're willing to be. I'm glad you're willing to go out and acquire. You all signed a contract, right? You did sign a contract, right? I assume Brom handed you one, and you worked on that.
Oh, I didn't sign anything. The monastery takes care of all that for me. Order does all that. Master Dallin would have.
Good to know. You didn't read the fine print yourself.
I understand what I'm getting into, and I understand there's levels of danger. I have already, in fact, had a hand axe thrown at my face, and she looks at Dirk. But, that's the world. That's life. If you have a hand axe come at your face, you just got to take it as it comes. Roll with the tide.
And sometimes you're trying to sleep, and a storm comes.
Exactly.
How inconsiderate.
So you understand.
What would Thassa be doing?
How inconsiderate of nature.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, sorry about that, princess.
He kind of it takes back, and he says, well, if yeah, I got that one. That's fine. Yeah, I'll let you slide. And he says, well, for those that didn't sign a contract or didn't read your own fine print, about time before we get to this little first alcove and first chance to really gather some treasure, let's work out the details. In my mind, I'm thinking you guys split 20% of the profits. The ship gets 80, and I get I see to first dibs on everything, all items. See, thoughts? He kind of laughs as he says it.
About that. So, the way that the order works is I would not actually get any personal profits myself. I don't need a whole lot to live, honestly, so that's fine. However, the order takes items into very strict consideration, and things that are deemed too powerful to be left to potentially the wrong hands, not saying yours, of course, would need to be turned over to the order to verify, and if it can be returned to the ship and the crew, then that's fine, but if it needs to be tucked away, then they would see to that at the sanctum.
Contemplates it?
Well, they would also pay you for it, of course.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All yours.
It's like a buyback program, So, we find the thing, let's say it's an orb that can destroy an entire town at once. Probably not something that needs to be floating around. I would just take it, meet up with my contacts. They would take it to the sanctum. They would give me the gold. I would give the gold to you. Y'all would split profits, however you deem necessary.
I see no problem in that. Again, I didn't deal with all that, but I'm fine with that for the most part.
I'm sure that Brom knows the inner workings of the contract that was, specified.
You
He's
know
my,
my
front
stipulation.
to back. I'm sure he has it memorized.
That
He
orb
nods.
thing.
He nods at Winston and says, "I know your stipulation. No worries there. Mostly for the newbies.
Books.
Trying to books. We'll get your books. Pages might be wet, but we'll get your books." He winks at you and says, "Vasily, what orb were we talking about?"
Well, Delta mentioned some kind of orb that wiped off the whole town from a map. I was just going to say that seems oddly specific.
I was just in it. There may be one at the sanctum already.
Just maybe there may be one.
Perhaps. There's a few
Perhaps.
things there. They're nice.
How did
It's fun
you
to walk
end
the
up at a
halls.
place like this?
Well, that's what I just said. Was Master Dallon's a contract with Brom, or who was acting on behalf of the captain? So I was assigned to this particular mission. That's how I.
Yeah, why were you assigned, not anybody else? I'm curious.
Well, there's a mentorship program, and Master Dallon is my mentor. And I have been traveling around with him for the last few years on a handful of missions. And the time had come for me to go out on my own. So here I am. You know, they told me there was a chance I could go out on the ocean and she gestures vaguely at herself. I like water.
So you just decided to hop on board a pirate ship for your first time for fun?
Sure.
You're brave. And he takes a sip of his drink.
You gotta just roll with the tide.
At that point, he laughs. It's just, yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but we're wanted. If you're on the ship, you're wanted. We have a bounty on our heads, so steer clear of the RAF. We'll be leaving that port behind and moving into what we're going to be moving into. We should be pretty safe. I'm on decent terms with everybody. Decent enough.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be fine.
So we can work out the inner workings of our contract later, I guess. But currently I stand on all of the items after you see to them, and maybe I get paid for them. And I'll keep 80% of the profits. You can have 20. He kind of says underneath his breath.
Yeah,
Well, sounds like we're getting a little lowballed.
Yeah, that doesn't seem about right to me. I'm not good with numbers, I'll be the first to admit, but that seems to be a bit on the cheap side.
Brom then leans in. Says, "Captain, no need. You guys you will split it. The ship will get 50, you will get 50. Split between yourselves. We got to keep the ship running. Either we can tax you all, or we can do that. I'm the numbers guy. We'll deal that with me." Captain steps in. Yeah. I'm just joshing. Poking around. That's all. If I could get a little more money, hey, sure, why not? But 50%. We'll split it down the middle.
yeah,
Deal?
that seems more fair.
Makes no difference to me.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not
okay
drink
with
these.
Delta will refill beverages.
Cool.
Vasily reaches up and
No,
As long as
continue,
we
Vazzy.
find something. 50% of nothing is still nothing. So
Where
I'm waiting, Cap.
are we going?
I'm kind of picking up some supplies that I left a few years back. My offshore bank account, I guess you could say. It when I need it, it's there, and it looks like we need it, so I'm gonna go pick up on it. It's just a little bit of wealth that I amassed the first couple of years on the seas, so it's just a little alcove. You guys should be fairly safe going in there.
All right. Where are we headed after?
Vasily.
No, Vasily's what?
Vasily, he's at this point he's reached up and he's giving Inkblot some gentle scratches on the chest, underneath the feathers, and he just looks at the captain and says, "I really didn't like how unsure you sounded when you said we would probably be safe."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I haven't been there in a number of years, and so I don't know quite what inhabits it, but when I left it, it was rather safe. It seems safe, I think. That's why I hired you
then.
specifically.
Okay, then. If it's
I'm
gonna
sure
be
fine.
So he'll say, no promises. Part of the contract, or at least I hope he put it in there, is that I'm not 100% reliable for your safety, but you'll be getting rich in the process. It's the life of the Partiza. Come on, you signed up for it. Quite literally, you signed up for it. But again, I hopefully, fingers crossed, wouldn't throw anything that you couldn't handle. I'm excited to get some gold. It's been a minute. It's definitely been a minute.
What's it like?
Keep the drinks coming, and I'll help you get that gold.
I will. What's it like having gold? Well, you can buy this here ship. It's beautiful. I spent my life's savings on this ship, and I believe that it shows. He kind of leans back and just like knocks on wood on the wall of the ship, and you can kind of see it kind of like splinter at one of the first of his knocks. He kind of like looks and, maybe we should fix that, will you? And you see Jata's now chuckling, walking over, kind of refilling plates with you, and just puts her hand over it. You see a white light kind of emanate from underneath her palm, and the splinter little area is now fixed. And then she kind of keeps making her way over.
Yeah, no offense, Cap, but I heard you stole this ship. Am I wrong?
I spent my life savings, did I not? Didn't say I had any.
You didn't say you had any.
Yeah.
And you didn't say it was your life savings, now did you?
Catching on. Catching on. Someone spent their life savings on this ship, I'm borrowing it, simply borrowing it. The night continues.
Return when you upgrade.
Oh, heck no. No, I'm going to sell this thing for a fat profit. And so the night continues. You share stories and whatnot. And you all will take shifts. Everybody will get at least one shift on deck, kind of just looking out, helping around and making sure everything is good to go.
Winston will take first shift.
All right. And
That will take second.
okay.
Third.
Who? Cool. We'll just split it into four. Okay, we'll just split it into four for tonight.
I'll take the early morning shift because growing up in a monastery, Delta wakes up at 5 a.m. every single day with it, whether she wants to or not. So
Cool. So Dirk's will be cut a little bit short. You'll be able to get a quick little cat nap before the day begins after the end of your shift. So everybody go ahead and give me a perception check to see what you see.
It'll be 18.
I rolled a natural 20.
Hey,
20
there we
on the
go.
morning shift,
Cool.
18 on the first shift.
Gonna be the only
What about
one.
the second shift?
21.
21. Scurvy?
12.
12. All right.
12.
And Dirk?
4.
4. All right.
Dirk was thinking about all the things the captain told the new recruits and sitting back just like, does the man ever tell the truth? And just pondering about the whole day. The pirate life may not be for him much longer. But as he was thinking, he was distracted and things happened apparently.
That's awesome. So, Winston, the part of your shift, as you're in your crow's nest, all you can really see, all that really catches your attention is just the beautiful starry sky above. You're kind of looking and studying the constellations that you are now familiar with from your many nights spent on the sea. You're looking out kind of above and contemplating well, at least the image kind of brings in the forefront of your mind, contemplating the gods and kind of contemplating what took you here and everything that has happened so far. So it's a very beautiful night.
Yeah, as the night wears on, anybody that runs into Winston would notice that he starts to get into, he's almost like brooding before he goes to bed, and he looks like he's dreading something that's coming up, and that happens every night.
And with that and the shift chains, Vasily, how would you be taking your shift? How would you be taking your night's watch?
About on deck, just keeping a lookout as best we can.
Cool. So your monkey friend accompanies you. You kind of get into little shenanigans with him, play a little bit of games, keep him, and he keeps you rather entertained. But you're keeping a good ear out and a good eye out on anything on the horizon or anything to come. But again, like the first few hours, it's a beautiful, beautiful night. Everything pretty much goes smoothly. You and the monkey, however, are looking over the bow of the ship, just kind of looking, peering over and taking in the beauty and the lights that are reflecting off the sea. And as you do, you see deep, deep, deep within a large shadowy figure kind of moving underneath the ship. Doesn't seem to be making any advances towards you. Instead, moving along with you. But it looks very deep underneath the water and very, very large.
Okay. Vasily just seeing. Is there any way that he could tell if it's like rising to the surface or sinking further below?
With the 21, it looks like he's just kind of chilling, actually.
Then Vasily doesn't do a thing.
Do you like take back, or are you kind of like awestruck, or?
He just kind of looks down, points it out to Rabbit, keeps an eye on it, because any sign of the thing ascending or descending, if it ascends, he's going to grab the captain first things first. If it descends, he's not going to mention it to anybody. But if it's still there, he'll mention it to whoever takes shift after him.
Gotcha. So give me a nature check. Let's see if you can kind of figure out what the heck this thing might be.
Not my best stat. 15?
At this depth, it almost looks cosmic. It's like you're like kind of just in awe of what's going on. That your first mind thinks like, Kraken, but then you're like, wait, that would be way bigger and we would be dead. Then your next thought's like, giant squid, maybe. As long as it's not hurting us, I guess that's what it is. So you're kind of lost for what it is, but it is in that range. You can kind of pin it at larger than life and not an everyday sight. But as Scurvy comes up to take your shift from you and relieve you, you see it kind of veer off to the right and descend down and kind of like leave your ship alone.
He mentions it to Scurvy in passing, but that's it. He doesn't make a fuss out of it. Cool.
And what'd you roll, Scurvy?
A 12.
So living through another storm and coming out on the other side, pretty much unscathed. You take the time to just look up at the stars and appreciate and thank whatever's watching out for you, that you made it alive and made it through yet another one. You kind of take a deep breath and take the moment to rest still. You're not kind of actively looking around doing things. But from what's happened so far in the sky above and the feel of the weather, you seem that you shouldn't be too alarmed. Everything seems to be in order, and your shift goes by pretty pretty nicely. You get a nice little rest under the stars. And Dirk, like you said, takes the time to just contemplate everything that was lied about. Maybe skirted the truth. As your shift also, you're kind of just like in awe at like how these new recruits accepted this information and didn't like fight back or didn't like even think twice about it, it seems. And kind of in awe at the captain still just continues to lie no matter what, but somehow he ends up coming through with things in the end.
Yeah. There's a reason Dirk's loyal to him. I mean, we waited all this time while he was in prison, so it's it's definitely mixed feelings.
For sure. And Delta, on your last little bit, you take the moment to meditate in the sun. As the sun is coming out, you take the moment to meditate, not stuck underneath in the bunks with loud snoring folk. You take the time to really soak in the area and the environment, and as you finish meditating, you open your eyes and you gather yourself as Brahm steps up to you, clearly like he was waiting on you to finish your jig, and he points to the horizon. Well, you're the first to see it. That's what we're looking at. And off in the distance, you see a collection of scattered, looks like just rock faces and large cliffs, jagged spines. It doesn't look like anything would there any or at least any inhabitants there. It looks there's very little vegetation at all. It looks if anything like a ship graveyard that we would totally be sailing around if we didn't know to be looking for that. With that, he takes you. He leaves you there and gathers the rest of the crew. The captain's actually one of the first to wake up now after another long rest. So you guys, whoever took damage during the storm is all back to full. You had your chance to take a long rest. You guys are good to go. The captain gathers you on the deck of the ship and says, "Well, all right. We're looking for a chest, a rather large chest, and I need you to bring me that chest. Because in that chest is funds for us to get where we need to go for the first leg of our journey."
What does the chest look like?
Well, it should be the only chest in there, if that helps.
That's fair. That helps.
Within the chest, you're going to find a lot of gold and some papers. There's not really many items. At least that I left. But there'll be plenty of gold to go around, and I will pay you in due time. Of course, after the fact, once you bring it back at least. Now, this is your chance. I need you to prove to me that you're not your worth in the ship. You've already done that, but you can do more than just save the ship from a storm. We can really work together to bring about our goals, if that makes any sense.
Captain?
Mm-hmm.
Is the ship on the island or in the water?
The chest?
Oh, yes,
it is,
I'm sorry.
As you're approaching these, you kind of see now in one of the larger ones, you see a cave or an alcove that you could, or a cave you could, a small one that a smaller boat could, a small little rowboat could get into. And he says, well, you'll be taking the skiff, and that will be entering into there and then docking, and going to get my stuff.
And how far in did you put it?
Yeah, I don't remember.
How long ago did you put it there?
Yeah, that was about 15 years.
Okay. All right.
Okay, then.
You never checked on it?
Hey, I didn't have the opportunity, because I was on the run for quite a long time.
I see.
And
lessons learned if we don't find it.
Yeah, if we don't find it, like, do we just come back empty-handed? Just to clarify?
If you don't find it, yeah, just let me know what you find instead, and we'll hunt it down from there, I guess. Fingers
Well, it
crossed.
doesn't look like there's a whole lot of things that come out this area in this way, so hopefully no one has.
That's my thoughts.
disturbed
You know,
this.
that's
But
what I thought when I put it here.
well, we won't know until we go. So Delta will go and get her stuff and get ready to go.
Yeah, as she heads in, you actually see Winston's already packed, has all of his stuff, and is walking up to the deck. And the Raven has been sitting there listening to the captain go through his spiel while Winston's actually been packing.
Gotcha. Cool.
That is such a neat trick.
Yeah, this Raven is cool.
Wish I could be in two places at once.
Does anybody have any remarks before you head off on the smaller boat into the cave?
Vasily makes a point to give Winston back his flask. It's empty, but he gives him back his flask.
He takes it and goes, "Here's to hoping we find the gold so we can actually refill it."
Hopefully. I owe you a drink.
Indeed.
Captain,
Uh-huh.
if we don't find it and bring back nothing, you do have a plan for how we're getting some funds, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's, yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Can I roll
Delta
insight on
cocks her
that?
head at that. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can I roll insight as well?
You absolutely can roll insight.
I'll make that a trio. Why not?
Dirk gets
Alright,
a
you got
15.
15 insight.
That's
All
a
right.
That's a
20,
10.
but not a natural 20. Not a natural
Okay.
20, but a 20.
20 total, 10.
Mhm.
14, I lied. 14 for insight.
Okay.
12.
All right. So all of you see through his facade. No, he's broke. And he obviously is stressed out. You can see like a bead of sweat appear on this kind of briskly nice weather morning. Just appear and like start to run down his face. Just trying to keep
This
his
is going to pat
composure.
him on the back and go, "Don't worry, Captain. You've got plenty of time while we're in there looking to come up with a plan. You get to work.
Yeah, make it
we'll
a
do the
good
same."
one.
Yeah, I'll be working on that. So have fun.
Dirk
Yeah,
takes
Winston-
a very deep breath in. I believe in you, Captain.
Confidence is key.
Once everybody kind of passes along, when he kind of is the last man standing there, Winston will lean over and sort of put his hand on his shoulder and go, "Listen, Cap, I really hope this does pay out because I'd hate to go back to my old job, if you know what I'm saying."
Yeah, we're gonna try to
Kinda
avoid that.
squeezes his shoulder.
Yeah, we're gonna. He'll say back. We're gonna leave that on the coast.
Yeah.
He nods, takes his leave as you head onto the boat, and you enter into the mouth of the cave. The water is very still as you approach. It smells damp and dank as you enter. The mouth of the cave itself kind of winds along for a few minutes. It doesn't. You don't land on any beach or see anywhere to dock. Does anybody? Nobody has dark vision. Oh, the tiefling has dark vision, right? No one else.
I have devil sight actually, but yeah.
Okay,
No, nothing of the sort.
it's getting pretty dark in here.
I have a torch.
Should I roll perception?
Yeah, so do I.
No, I'm just seeing who can even see in general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would light up a torch as well. Try to start like
Okay.
me and Winston probably like lead the group. I'd say, like at the marching order.
Okay.
Yeah. And Winston has one of the pistols out.
Okay.
Vasily's got a
Dirk
dagger. Vasily has his bow strung and ready to go.
Cool.
Delta's just walking.
All right. So you actually do end up after about 5 minutes of soft rowing and kind of coasting along, taking in the area, land on a beach, a very small one. Oh, got visited by
Kitty.
Kitty.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. So you land on a beach that's about 25 feet long, like wide, I guess, and it goes up quite a ways. You enter into this. You dock the boat and get out. And this first little area is mostly sand on the ground, and it's like a dome of a cavernous dome that has. You guys are all looking around. That has spider webs kind of all over the place and all intertwined. Everybody, give me a perception check to see exactly all what you can see.
Oh, that's a 5.
That's an 8.
15.
13.
15.
15. So most of you are looking down and kind of like looking around and creeped out by the dense layers of spider webs that kind of coat from the middle to the back half of the room. And you guys don't really notice a door, but Winston, you see through on the back wall on the left side, you notice there is what looks to be another like a hallway or another smaller cavern that leads around. But it looks to be the only exit for the room. But you don't hear anything.
So I will say, can you guys give me a couple of minutes here before we go in? Inkblot needs a costume change.
Okay,
I don't know what that
Whatever you
means, but sure.
And he sits down and he'll start pulling out all of his ritual gear. And I will recast Find Familiar, and Inkblot arrives as an owl.
Okay.
Cool.
That is
And I
a
will-
fun
and I will-
trick.
I will scratch him and go see what's up ahead, buddy.
All right. So how does that work? Do you want me another perception check for him?
Yeah,
Cool.
that'll be better. 17.
Cool. As the owl approaches this like wall of web, it flies up and around, and it notices that it goes up for as high as it can fly, but it finds a few little crevices and a few little small holes in the wall of web to fly through and fly around. It goes through the small little cavern, the smaller cavern, and it sees a much larger chamber that has a large pool of water about 30 feet below from the ground level. And then it kind of turns around, scanning the area, turns around, comes back, and on its way back, it notices that there are 3 larger ovular shapes that are made of much denser web, much if that makes sense. Like they're large ovals made of like much denser, more compact webbing that are kind of like standing on the ground with a footing around it. And yeah, that's what you see. There's 3 of them that are kind of like packed in this wall of web.
Yeah, so as he's going, you actually can see Winston's eyes sort of glaze over, and he stands and he just kind of very quietly monologues everything that he's seeing to the group and waits for Inkblot to come back.
All right, and as it does, it kind of perches back on your shoulder. You regain your sight, I assume, looking back through your eyes, and begin to look around. And what do you guys want to do?
Are there any traps that I can see immediately, or can I check for traps from where I'm sitting?
The sandy sandy area, and then as you approach, it looks to be more a rocky base. It doesn't look in this room immediately, but there are any traps, at least before the wall of web that you can actually like kind of explore around.
All right, then Vasili's going to take the moment to pull a torch out of his pack and light it up.
Okay.
And hold it out a little bit further just to see if he can see beyond the webbing.
Are you looking? All right, give me another perception check as you approach the webbing a little bit more and kind of like look more. You kind of know where the door is.
Oh my God, that's a 7.
That's a 7. So you kind of reach out and you kind of now notice where the door is because you were pointed in that direction, but are totally creeped out by these large shapes in the room, around the room.
I think there's either people or eggs in like these webs. All I know is that this place seems a bit full of spiders.
Well, that's what we got torches for, right?
But you don't understand. I don't like spiders.
Then burn them.
And spiders don't like fire, so it'll work out.
I'm not doing this alone.
Honey, you're not alone anyway. We're with you. It's fine. Everything's going to be fine. Since Vasily lit a torch, I would like to look up on the ceiling because I know that spiders crawl on ceilings.
All right. What did you roll for your last perception? Cat.
It was a 5. But that was before the torch was lit?
That was before the torch was lit. Give me another one.
Cool. Oh, that's much better. That's much better. That is a 14. It's quite a difference.
As you're looking up, you see a large shadowy figure kind of recessed in the top part of this dome of a cavern.
Vasily. Is he standing
Yes,
just underneath it? Or not quite?
Not quite. He's maybe 5 feet from directly underneath.
I don't want to alarm you, but I would recommend that you move back towards me and look at me.
Vasily does exactly as she's ordering. He knows that tone of voice. He came from a big family. He knows when Mama's speaking to obey.
Right.
Lovely.
Yeah, as that's happening, Winston is going to be backing up.
Okay, backing up a little bit as far as you can and to the edge of the water.
He's going to back up, and you see him start moving his hand and start uttering under his breath, and little tendrils of blue energy start building around his hand, and he puts it on the butt of the gun, and I'll cast Mage Armor on myself.
Cool. All right. What about everybody else? What are you guys doing?
Well, I would like
Scurvy's
to
going
pull
to go
out
ahead
the
and...
spider after Vasily gets to me. Or what I think maybe a spider. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, Scurvy's going to go ahead and grab his spear, and then he's going to kind of grin as he looks up and get his hand ready, as if he's going to cast something.
All right. What's Dirk doing?
Yep.
Dirk's got a javelin ready. He's ready to just toss it right into that spider.
All right. And Vasily?
As soon as Vasily is back with Delta, he's going to look up to where everybody is watching like a bunch of cats with a spider in the corner. He's just going to swear in Sylvan under his breath, and he's going to knock and pull back and aim an arrow.
All right. So the shadowy figure above is not currently moving. It's not headed, but...
Y'all, let's not get too hasty. I'm going to throw a dart at it.
Okay. Give me an attack roll.
Ooh, okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, that was a 17 plus my dex. Where's my dex? Plus 2, so 18, 19, plus proficiency is 21.
21.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, the dart lands into whatever's above. And as it does so, you hear it screech and it quickly crawls down the wall of web and meets you on the ground. And roll for initiative.
Knew it.
Here we
Get
go.
some initiative going.
The first rumble of the campaign.
Here we go.
21.
All right, so we'll.
That's 12.
I got a 12 as well.
Great.
And Winston?
20.
Okay, so. Dirk, what'd you get?
9. He's gonna let the recruits do this one.
Here we go. We have.
Oh,
all right. So
Wait, I lied. Sorry. 14 for me. I forgot I had the initiative bonus.
Also, the dart would have done 4 damage.
All right.
Oh, wait.
That is.
No, that was just the roll. Hang on, I have to add things too. I can't play this game anymore. I forgot how to play. Let's see. It's do you add your dex mod in as well? Or just proficiency? Yeah.
So on damage, it's the roll plus dex.
Plus dex. Okay, great. So then 6 damage.
6 total. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It is now Scurvy's turn as this giant spider has met you on the ground in front of the wall of web, and you have about 20 feet in between you guys, so you don't have much room to move, and you have about 20. So the beach is about 25 feet wide and only about 20 feet deep.
Okay. Scurvy's gonna go ahead and point at the spider, and he's gonna cast Dissonant Wisdom.
All right. So that is what saving throw?
It is a 13 saving throw.
Is that wisdom?
Yeah, wisdom. My bad.
You're good. And how much damage would you do?
3d6 is. Oof. 12, 17.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, 17 points of damage. As it scurries up the webbing, it failed a saving throw against the Dissonant Whispers, so now it has to run as far away as it can this turn, right?
Yeah, it runs as far away as it can for me.
Yeah, it just goes right back up the top, up to the top where it's now currently a shadow up above. Winston, what do you want to do?
So I will send Inkblot up, and I will backpedal. And seeing now that it's further up, I'm going to pull the big gun out. And I will cast Firebolt. And you see him pull tendrils of red energy into his hands, and he slaps it on the side of the gun. And you see all of the carvings start lighting up with energy, and it rolls up into the barrel. And he releases it and will fire. And I am going to use one of my lucks, and so that will be a 16 to hit.
Hits.
Okay. And that is going to be 3 points of damage.
All right. You hear it. First, you see the bolt soar through the air, passing through some of the webbing that's up there, almost as if a defense mechanism. It slaps the side of the spider, kind of illuminating all that's up. And you see above it about 12 or so more spiders, much smaller, but they're more up there. And as it winces and screeches a little bit, it takes a lot more damage.
Yeah, and I will have I'll have Inkblot take the help action and grant advantage to probably to Vass.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, Vass, what do you want to do? It's your turn.
All right. The firebolt hit the side of the spider and illuminate not just the main target, but the background spiders as well. Vasili's going to take a second to plunge the torch
into the ground, so it's standing by itself and burning. And he's going to fire off a shot with the short bow.
All right.
That's a 2. I'm switching dice.
All right. You kind of startle for a second as you see all of the eyes above. You put it in there, retake aim, release, but the arrow is caught in the webbing as it goes up into the air.
Did you roll with advantage?
No, I did not. Thank you for reminding me. That's an 11 with advantage.
11 total?
Yeah, with advantage, because I forgot I had advantage.
So 11 total or just the dice roll?
The 11 was the second dice roll.
So what's your total attack roll?
Oh, attack roll. My bad. 4.
Well, it was 11 naturally, right?
Yeah, it was 11 naturally.
So just add your modifier, and what was the total for your short bow attack?
A modifier with my short bow attack, 4.
So 15 total?
Yeah.
Yeah, roll damage, including sneak attack, because you had advantage on the attack roll.
Ooh, sneak attack. Forgot how that works
Yeah.
again. Sneak attack. Extra
Think it
That's
levels-
gonna
D6.
be your bestie.
Yeah,
All right.
for real.
That was all right. That was a 4 for damage, and for sneak attack, that's also another 4.
Wow. You guys are melting this thing. All right. So instead of it being caught in the webbing, you're able to kneel on one, get on one knee, kind of aim true, release, and you see the arrow sink into it pretty quickly after the firebolt's light dissipates. You had a good aim on it. Now it is Delta's turn. What do you want to do?
Well, it's still on the ceiling, isn't it?
It is. And there's a wall of web in front of you, about 20 feet ahead.
All right. I guess I'll throw another dart at it. I can't
All right.
reach it. Oh, nope. That's 2.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
real dark in there.
It is. And there's tons of webbing
Still
to
dark.
catch all of these
Lots of
projectiles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right. So the spider is going to shoot its web and attempt to make contact with and spread out more web to further increase its cover. So it's kind of just like spinning some web and making a little bit more cover for it to hide behind, because she is clearly not dealing with you guys anymore. It wants to live for sure, as it's kind of like burrowing itself back in there. And that's what it's going to take its turn doing. So now it'll have partial cover. So, Dirk, what do you want to do?
Dirk looks like he's about to chuck his javelin, and then he looks at his torch. And he... is the web connected to the ground? Like, can he reach the webbing?
So you would have to take about 20 feet of movement to reach it, come up to the wall of web to like start to light it on fire.
Yeah, he just walks up to the web and just lights the torch underneath of it and goes, say goodbye to your babies. And fire rises up.
All right.
I assume.
Yeah, so you touch the web and it just immediately begins to spread. And it takes a few seconds, but it spreads all across and up, and the whole room is illuminated with this bright glow. And you hear 3 distinct sets of screeching as the eggs themselves catch on fire. The large eggs catch on fire, and a swarm of spiders pours out of each one of them. And they will now roll for initiative. All 3 of them will roll for initiative.
That's why I didn't want to set him on fire.
Nope.
But they will
I've
take
made
some
a
damage.
mistake.
They are on fire and are took a good bit of damage.
I've made a moderate mistake.
Sixth grade.
Can everyone see now?
Yeah, oh yeah. For a good while, everybody is perfectly fine seeing.
And Vasily, who happens to be terrified of fire.
Oh.
Ooh, double bad.
Hey, I'm
Yeah.
fire resistant, so.
And that's how they died.
TPK.
And all that
All right,
so-
backpedaling. Nope.
Your ankles. So all y'all are currently like as far as you're backpedaling as far as you can. Your ankles are now met with the water, and you're kind of wading a little bit, maybe knee deep in water, kind of like because you are like on a small little beach. All right, Scurvy, what do you want to do? Back to top.
How far away are these spiders?
The close, two of them are 20 feet away, and then one of them is about 30 feet away. The swarm of spiders on the ground, but the one up is about 35 feet up.
And it's like hidden behind some webs or something, you said?
Yeah, it has half cover behind some webs.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put my hand out and just Eldritch Blast the closest baby spider.
All right.
Um,
Roll me an attack roll.
A 23 hit.
I do believe at level 2, 23 hits.
I do declare.
Man. 12.
12 points of damage?
Yeah, I rolled a 9 plus 3. Agonizing Blast.
Yeah. Wow. So you do you shoot? So how do you shoot your spells? Does it come out of your hand?
Yeah, it is. I stick my hand out and it like comes out of my palm.
So for the first time, you see Scurvy reach out his hand, and you see this large ball of lightless black energy appear, and almost as if it consumes all around it. And as it releases, it shoots through the sky or through the air, and it splashes across one of the swarms of spiders, scattering a lot of them, killing the majority of them, but leaving a few left for that swarm. What about Winston? What do you want to do?
Yeah, so as Winston backs up, he's already moving his hand again, and he's taking aim with the blunderbuss. And you see the energy that he pulls is much larger this time. He's got his whole hand, and he's turning it. And as he rips, his entire hand is red. He slams it into the side of the gun, and I will cast Flaming Bolts. And that is 1 bolt for each of them. And it's 1d6 plus 1, no save.
Right.
That'll be 6 to the first, 4 for the second, and 6 for the third.
Wow.
As
So
he just clang, 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 just lets them all go.
You let off 3 shots as quickly as you can, aim at the next. And the first one scatters and burns the rest of the spiders in that first one, the first swarm that Scurvy just also damaged. And then in the middle one, you see a good portion of spiders scatter and burn. And the third one, likewise. So the second and third one are still decently healthy, but the first one is totally gone.
And I will send Inkblot to continue to use the help action for Vass for the next round as well, against the big spider.
All right. Okay. So it's the swarm's turn, and the swarm will move up to and start to surround and engulf Dirk's area and like climb up and bite on. So they're swarming all up on you, and they will see what they can do. That's the first nat 20 of the game.
In an attack roll, because I rolled an nat 20 earlier.
Very, very true. First, I guess.
I guess out of everyone here, I'm probably the one who can take it.
You keep those spiders, dear. Everybody's got to be good at something.
Yeah.
They're not cold spiders, right? Because I have resistance to cold damage.
They're not. So you actually take 13 points of piercing damage.
Ooh.
As the spiders crawl all over you and just keep on digging in.
Oh. That's bloody,
Damn, son.
by the way.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, the crit really did that in. So, Bass, your turn.
All right. Seeing Dirk in distress and seeing the big spider cocooning itself, Vaz is going to dart forward and grab the torch that he put into the beach, and then he's going to use the dash action, that's a tongue twister, to get within range, and he's going to try to throw the lit torch at the spider like a dagger.
The big one?
At the big spider like a dagger, trying to impale it with the flaming end.
All right, so give me a ranged attack roll.
And you do have advantage.
You do have it, so roll twice, and then add your...
Plus, that would be my plus 2?
We'll do... we'll do just dexterity for this add.
Just dexterity. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's a 13. 13 points.
It twirls in the air and sinks flaming end into the webbing that it cocooned itself around, catching that on fire, and still doing a little bit of damage, but definitely doing just enough damage to, as you see that it kind of like lands, the webbing catches on fire. You hear a large screech as you're looking up and noticing the spider is falling rather fastly. Rather quickly, and you see it fall out of the air as it screeches with torch impaled, and it thuds, hits the ground with a large, like a loud sound, a loud thud, and that spider is dead.
First kill of the game!
Yeah. So the second swarm is going to move up to Vasily and again, swarm your space and begin to crawl up you.
Can I use a dexterity saving throw to try to dodge?
It is so. It's not a
like back away and no.
Okay. Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Okay.
So
be sweet if you could.
I know. Can't blame me for trying.
What's your armor class?
My armor class is 13.
13. Okay, so it's going to hit you, and these things are kind of going under your armor, through your armor, all around you. You're in your fur, and you're going to take 7 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
As the swarm goes around you.
As you all hear a distinct screaming that sounds very much like a 4-year-old girl. As Vasily just starts swiping at himself. Because two things he hates the most in this world are spiders and fire. So this is not his day.
Quite legitimately, yeah. All right, Delta, what do you want to do?
Well, I actually remember telling Vasily to move away from the spider, so I know how much he doesn't spiders. And he's screaming like a 4-year-old girl, so I'm going to go attack that second swarm and try to help him. And
cool.
I will
Give me an attack.
I'm going to use an unarmed attack. I feel like it would be a little unfair if I smacked Vasily with my staff.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Exactly. But that's an 11.
So 11 is going to miss. So you're trying to like brush him. I'll say you're like trying to brush him off and get him off of her. Like slapping a few.
Stop it.
Right. And so between the sporadic movements, you're not able to make contact with any. So you actually don't you have a?
I do.
As a monk, bonus action, unarmed attack. Yeah.
Yep, I get another attack as a bonus action.
Yeah.
Well, that's a 12.
12 hits.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so you are actually, so roll me damage as you're swatting off and stomping off some of the...
That is 5.
Wow, it's a lot of damage.
5 damage.
Yeah, so you're able to get about half of them off of him as you swipe off and stomp. Both of you are kind of like collectively stomping these spiders all around Vasili's feet and on his body.
That will end my turn.
Cool. That swarm is dead. So Dirk, what are you doing? There's a swarm of spiders on you.
Dirk is going to reach for his great axe and just start spinning with the axe to try to get all the spiders off of him.
All right, give me an attack roll.
Axe.
He becomes the cyclone for a second. And this is a reckless attack, so I'm going to have an advantage on this attack, but attack rolls against me have advantage. So
Gotcha.
Please don't let me die. Yeah, I'm glad I got advantage because the first roll was very bad, and the second one is 19 plus 4. I think that
That's
hits.
a hit. Yeah.
All righty. So this is going to be 1d12 plus 2 damage. I love great axes. That is 13 damage.
Holy guacamole. So, so you're spinning around and rapidly, what I kind of imagine is like your own, like instinctively, you just kind of like tornado the thing, right? Like Tasmanian devil kind of thing. You just spin as fast as possible. Spider kind of like flying off of you, and as they're flying off, you like fruit ninja them out of the air, like just like slicing them in half with your great axe, just like as dexterous as like possible with this massive two-handed weapon. And all the spiders are off of you, and you are safe. You're kind of like dizzied for a second as you gather yourself with your great axe, but yeah, you're good. Scurvy, what do you want to do? There's a swarm of spiders on Vasili.
And that's the only spiders?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I probably shouldn't Eldritch Blast Vasili, so...
Please don't.
I'll run up and I'll like attempt to, in the same like the same way that Delta did. I'll try to like brush off the spiders.
Okay.
19 plus 21.
21 hits.
My unarmed strike just says 1. It doesn't even have a hit die.
So unarmed strikes are
D4.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a 1.
Okay. So yeah, you do a little bit of damage. You're able to clear off a little bit as both. So 2 people are surrounding Vasili as he's kind of like having a moment as sporadically like dancing around, trying to get all these spiders off, and both of you are trying to like calm down at the same time as wipe them all off. So Winston, what are you doing?
So I'm going to attack the swarm of spiders that are still alive here, and first I will have Inkblot go over and grant me advantage by taking the help action.
Okay.
And that'll be natural 20.
That's a crit.
Right.
All right.
And that'll be Firebolt, so that'll be 9 points of damage.
All right. So describe how do you want to do this? How do you get rid of the rest of them?
So basically continuing to sort of move and eye in and key in as close as you can, looking down the barrel, and then basically just waiting until that opportune time and kind of releasing it and just picking the last of them off in a gout of fire that burns them away off of Az's body.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nice.
It got real. Strap in, kids.
Oh.
Nice. So noticing that the last little patch is burnt off of you accurately, and the danger has subsided, and all the webs are now gone.
Vaz
Pat out
immediately.
the flames if there are any like singeing hairs on
Definitely.
Vasili. It's okay. It's okay.
Winston's got control. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
You're fine.
Vasily just walks over to Winston, grabs him by the throat, and pins him to the wall of the cave, snarling right in his face. Use fire on me again.
Take a second for yourself. You're fine. You're alive. You're good.
He shakes him a little bit. Don't.
Ooh, all right.
Huh.
So as the rest of you kind of see this happening, you take a second, noticing, excuse me, the weight of like maybe what the fire represents more than just a light fear of being burned, and the weight of the moment. Take a second, but. What does anybody want to do as this is kind of settling for us after a few seconds?
Dirk will go up to Winston, and but I don't think they're used to our way of doing things around here. You're gonna have to. There's other ways to help. You know other spells than fire spells, right?
Yeah.
Vasily just drops his hand and walks away.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let him cool off.
Delta, like, because she has like water always on her skin, does actually follow Vasily and kind of like pats him a little bit, more kind of comforting. Hey, it's all right. Everything's okay. Everyone's fine. Just take a deep breath. We'll be all right. I understand.
Vasily says nothing. He doesn't say a damn thing.
It's okay.
All right.
She's still gonna stand there and do that.
Yeah.
She's just gonna be there.
You guys notice at the back left side of the wall, now everything's clear. You can walk through.
What's that angle out ahead?
There's a small little area, a small little hallway, if you would, that leads into this next chamber, where there is a 5-foot wide ledge on like the south side of the chamber, and then moving forward, it looks to be just a large pool of water about 30 feet down. And you can kind of see where there was a rope bridge here on this side and on that side. The wood that was holding it up and the ropes themselves have since decayed. If you give me a perception check, we can kind of see what's going on with the rest of the room. So that's like your immediate sight.
Everyone?
Yeah.
20.
Okay.
Ooh, that's not bad. That's an 18.
16.
20
16.
total.
20 total? 20 total.
Mhm.
12.
12?
Nat 1.
All right. So, kind of in awe of how hard you just got hit, you kind of take a second to regain yourself, not even worry about what's ahead, as the rest of them kind of go ahead and...
I'm just inspecting my spider bites. I'm just like looking like, oh, ow, God, ugh, are these poisonous?
Right. Yeah. As everybody else who rolled, you all notice that there's a small ledge along the left side of the room, and that could potentially be crossable if you are want to risk it. Other than that, there doesn't seem to be any way across at the moment.
Wide is this?
It is, it's like to the other 5-foot ledge on the opposite side of the room. It's 35 feet across and 30 feet wide.
Okay.
And you maybe have a few inches or so on the ledge, like going across. Yes, yeah, maybe 6 inches. So you'd have to shimmy, 6 or 8 inches, have to shimmy across really carefully.
Winston just
I'll do
goes.
All right.
Yeah, Vasily goes as well.
So do you guys have a, you have a torch lit there, right?
Mhm.
The 220s. You guys notice there's a shadowy figure. You hear some movement in the still water below.
So my site has dark vision for 180 feet. Would a 20 be able to see a shape or anything?
You kind of make out that it's probably, it has 8 or so tentacles coming out from its main torso. Your first thought is something along the lines of an octopus.
Okay, so who's first trying to go over the ledge?
Winston and I were going to go.
Yep.
Okay, so whoever's in front, I'm going to use my awake mind telepathy to tell you, Winston, there's something in the water below you. Be careful.
Winston's like, I got it. Thank you.
All right, so give me acrobatics.
He doesn't sound confident, by the way.
Give me either acrobatics or athletics, depending.
I'm going to go with acrobatics.
Yeah, as will I. Yeah.
And I will use luck. Much better. 19.
15.
16.
All right. Are you the only 3 that went across?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So as you get about halfway into the room, so you are skirting across. As you get about halfway into the room, above you, a swarm of bats comes down. Not looking to attack you or hurt you, but it definitely catches you off guard. And as these swarm over you, and this wave of bats kind of comes through over you and heads out towards the exit, Delta, you lose your grip and fall 30 feet below into the water. Yeah.
Can I try to catch her?
Sure. So give me a dexterity saving throw.
Don't roll.
Okay.
Don't roll, because
Okay.
you're going to experience something strange as Winston reaches his hand out. He can't touch you, but you watch him pull, and I'm going to reach into the multiverse, and I'm going to use portent, and I'm going to pull back the result that I want from the multiverse, and you rolled a 17 to catch her. So
Nice.
go ahead, add your modifiers to that.
Yeah, so add your
Okay.
dexterity saving throw modifiers to that.
Wow.
Nice.
21 in total.
Yeah, so
However,
you
would
instinctively reach out your hand, pull out, and notice that didn't come from you. That didn't. You thought about it, but that action didn't happen by your hand. You reach down, grab her, pull her back up onto the ledge. You definitely save her.
Vasily
You experience both of those things at the same time. You experience her falling and you catching her at the same time, because those things to you happen simultaneously.
He just mutters in Sylvan under his breath, looking at Winston, unable to speak before he turns back to Delta. You all right?
I'll be fine. Thank you. And I will continue onwards. I do not want to be on this ledge anymore.
Awesome. So we still have with those rolls, you are able to make it all the way across, even with the swarm of bats that overcame you. So Dirk and Scurvy, you're the only 2 that are on this side of the ledge, inside of the room.
Can I say Dirk probably looked up finally and caught Winston doing his little trick there and laughed to himself when he saw that. Just like, oh yeah, you get used to that. But yeah, he's gonna be like, come on, Scurvy, let's go.
So you guys give me some acrobatics or athletics, depending.
So we're on the other side of this ledge now. You said that this rope bridge, is it a rope bridge, and is it gone? Like, can we pick it up and throw it across
So there's like the wooden posts that are on each side are there, but the rope has been decayed and has gone. Okay. Everything about it is it's just kind of like a relic of a rope bridge that was.
So I have 50 feet of hempen rope.
Okay. So you could
tie it,
toss it.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're on the other side.
Yes, I know. But if I tie one end to this post, could I throw the other end to them and then tie it to that post and then them shimmy across?
Yeah. So give me a strength check to check the strength and the how rotten this post is real quick. Let me just see. See if you just hold it tight. See if you can tell how tight it is.
13.
You kind of grab it and you're like, yeah, it looks sturdy enough. You tie it to this side and you toss it to the other side.
Derek, how's the post on that side?
Should I roll
I got rope.
check?
I can throw it to you.
Yeah. Roll a check.
Strength.
Yeah, we'll see how hard you can move it.
Yeah, that is 20 strength. Not
20.
natural.
Yeah. So you move, kind of grab in the middle, and you like grab both of them, and just kind of pull. The left one, which was your first choice, just snaps from being rotten. The right one moves or it stands sturdy, and you're like, this seems pretty good. So yeah, you are able to tie it, throw the rope, and then tie off this rope on this side.
Alrighty.
And if you want to cross it, yeah. So we're about to have to call time, but give me your roll. Both of you guys roll to get across real quick, and that's where we'll call it.
Oh yeah, my athletics is 17.
Okay.
I rolled a 7.
All right. So you make it all the way across, Dirk, rather easily. Did you take the wall or did you take the rope, Scurvy?
Took the rope.
All right, and Scurvy?
Originally, I took the ledge.
Okay. So as you make it a few steps into the ledge, we'll pick it up next time as you are you slipping and falling 30 feet down into the depths below.
Yay! We lost our warlock.
Dirk will reach for him. Dirk will reach for him, but I don't know if we'll get him. We'll leave that for
all right.
Barbarians are ending. Who is it?
All right.
Who's excited to see OS Lake's new character concept coming out for
Yeah, I guess in chat he said you could say he walked the plank.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
All right.
Accurate.
Well, that's it. Show's canceled after the pun.
Right.
It's over.
Yeah.
We can't go up.
You can't go up.
Awesome.
I gotta think positively. It can't get any worse.
To see they just went.
We can.
First of all, I love puns.
Oh, it can. It can.
All right, well, that was a pretty good first session. We learned a lot, hinted a lot of backstory, got some combat in, and a little cliffhanger. Pick us up next time. Yeah, literally a cliffhanger.
Yeah. I'm super excited.
All right, yeah, so real quick, we're going to go through and have everybody, one more time, plug yourself, so name, where we can find you, and what you thought of what's going on. So we'll start with, we'll go back down to Tim.
Sure, yeah. So you can follow me at Skella_Tim at Twitter. And also I will be on Tuesdays, I'll be playing on a Vampire the Masquerade game as Marion. It's 1945 LA. And the campaign's called A Crusade of Thorns. It's part of a three different groups are all in the same world, and we're influencing each other's campaigns. So I'm in the Anarch game. It's very cool. They put a lot of work into it, and they're fundraising for Rainbow Railroad with great charity. So yeah, swing by on Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Cool. And one more time, what do you think of the session and what's going on currently with the party?
Oh, I loved it. I had a great time. Love the dynamics of the party. I love people, like, their kind of trauma coming up in ways they don't want it to. It's really good.
Cool. All right, we'll keep going with Winston and Drew.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Denver Drew. It's the only place I am. I don't do anything else. And here, obviously, Sunday nights at 8 Eastern, walking the plank with these guys. Session was awesome. I like the dynamics we've already got going. And Vaz and I, obviously, are going to be spending a little bit of time getting to know each other and working the kinks out, if you know what I mean. But no, this was really good. I'm excited.
All right. We'll actually go up to Pepper this time.
All right. Well, as always, you can find me on Maybe She on Twitter. And that's pretty much where I am hiding out. That's the only form of social media I have. As for the game itself, I'm very interested to see how the moment between Winston and Vasily went and how it ends up playing out later. Because I'm super excited to finally be able to play this character, in case you couldn't tell.
All right. We'll go to Delta and Vanny.
Okay, awesome. Again, my name is Vanny_Stitches. That is on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. You guys can, of course, check me out here. You can also check me out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on my own stream. I stream cross-stitch and other nerdy things. I'm currently working on a massive Kingdom Hearts cross-stitch piece that is going to be 20 inches by 20 inches and has 131,000 stitches in it. So you can see progress on Twitter and Instagram for that, or you can come and watch me stitch it live, because I like to talk to people, because otherwise it would be boring. Other than that, I really enjoyed the game. I really love Delta. I love her personality. I love her optimism, and her naivety is my favorite part about her. Didn't dive a whole lot into her backstory and her primary goals and things like that, but they'll come about, and I'm very excited for the dynamic between her and Vasily.
Yeah.
And watching that develop, and her and the captain, actually. She kind of thinks it's full of it a little.
Tiny bit.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
You know what they say? So full of it, you have to your eyes in it. Your eyes are brown. So,
all right.
I'm very excited.
Right.
Hope y'all are too.
Good. So Austin and Scurvy.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at OS_Lake, on SoundCloud, OS Lake. I put out music occasionally. I should put out more. But yeah, I'm super excited about this. I'm really looking forward to seeing why Dirk has so much trust in the captain and the little bit of conflict between Winston and the captain. I think those are my two biggest interesting points I want to figure out. But yeah, it was great.
All right. Cool. So we're going to hang out and chat, or some of us will be around and chat for as long as you like as the stream ends. But one more time, I'm Daniel. Find me on Twitter, Collins_Dan1. And yeah, I had a great time. I love being able to play with a wide cast of crew members, and I'm really excited to see all the little nuances that I know all about, but no one else in the cast knows about, right? With my backstory books that I've been reading, and all that goes into that. I'm excited to see where everything goes, and we'll see if Scurvy makes it out of this alive.
I hope so.
Right.
I hope
all right.
so. I also really like Rabbit.
Yeah.
I cannot get over the fact his name is Rabbit.
Yeah, the monkey named Rabbit. All right, well, with that, I think we're going to call it here, and we'll see you guys next week at 8 o'clock.
See you next week, guys.
All right, see you. Bye.
Bye.